Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What is good, Raider Nation? Man, what a freaking game. I hope you guys can all hear me. I'm pumped up, man. My voice is kind of out of it. Let me fix this camera here real quick. Um, wow, man, that's all I could say. This game was it was nuts, man. Just someone confirmed that you guys can 100% hear me, and we're gonna get into this. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about it. Um, I'm excited, man. I'm super, super excited. Perfect. Thank you guys for confirming that you guys could hear me. Wow, man. This game did not look good, man, at times. Like, holy shit. Uh, I thought the Raiders were about to lose flat out. We made a couple of huge mistakes. Truth be told, when it mattered, the offense got it done. Derek Carr, John Gruden called the good offense. The offensive line finally stepped up as well, and we got it done, man. And we got the W. We were 1-0 to start the season, and we just played probably one of the toughest teams we're going to play all year. That's how you get it done, man. That's how you get it done. And let's talk about this, man. That defense stepped up, and that defense got it done. Huge, huge, huge shout out to Max Crosby, man. Max Crosby is a superstar. If anyone had doubts in the past, put those doubts to rest, man. Max Crosby is a star football player. Oh my god, man. What a crazy game. Shout out to all of you guys that are already here. There's over 100 of you guys that are already tuned in. Aunt Six Soldier left the first super chat. He said, Raiders, 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 Raiders. Just win, baby. In car we trust. Let's go, man. Derek Carr was he was electric, man. 34 of 56, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, and of course that interception in which Willie Snead dropped the pass. But Derek Carr, man, look, so many people hate Derek Carr. So many people are all over the place with Derek Carr, but Derek Carr got it done, and the game did not start off well. Derek Carr, I believe, was 3 of 11 on his first 11 passes. He had 28 yards, and as the game went on, he stepped up, man. He stepped up. He completed 31 of his last 45 passes, 31 of 45 for 405 yards, basically. Wow, man. I've got another super chat. Omar has left $5 super chat. Huge shout out to you. If you guys have questions, if you guys have comments, let me know in the via super chats. I will always get to those. Aunt Six Soldier left the first super chat of the day, so huge shout out to him. Omar left another super chat. Said stupid fans wanted DC out. You know what's crazy is I live tweet on Twitter, and every single one of my tweets, I was like, man, this offense is slow. It's not going to get it done. And people were like, hey, put Mariota in the game, get rid of DC. And I was hesitant because you have to give the quarterback some time, right? Like, let's be honest, this was a top tier defense. The Baltimore Ravens are one of the league's best defenses, and I know they had some injuries, which is factually true. But another thing with that defense is they're still well coached, and they still have corners. Like their fourth and fifth corners are still good football players, and they're well coached at the end of the day. And Derek Carr got it done when it mattered, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, our team won, and as Stumbling Upward said, we stopped the Ravens' offense. Think about this. They had how many points at halftime? 14, and they finished the game with 27 points. That's how you win the game. Defense has to step up, and they stepped up, and they won us this game. Huge shout out to the defense. We'll get into all of it. We'll go through the game a little bit. Super chats, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for the super chats. If you guys aren't members, become a member, and I will try to get to those as well. As Kevin Lurker, who is a member, who has that little badge by his name, said Raiders. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Fing View, and I hope I said your name correctly. That's a $10 super chat. Said whoever said Carr is not the answer, get the F out of here. Thank you for the super chat, man. I'm super fired up. If you guys can't tell by my voice how pumped up I am, man, I can't even tell you guys right now because we just beat one of the league's best teams. That defense was the number 3 defense last year, And over the last 3 years, they've had a top 3 defense each of those last 3 years. And their defense is no joke this year either. But at the end of the day, the Raiders put up over 500 yards of offense on that defense at the same time. We held them to less than 400 yards or about 400 yards, which, considering the fact that we basically went 5 quarters or 4.5 quarters, right, including overtime, that's not horrible, right? That's not horrible. And Derek Carr stepped up, man. You know what's crazy is I was super hurt, man, when they went downfield and they kicked the field goal. I think we had 37 seconds left, something around that. And then we ran 2 very nice plays. I think they were both dig routes to Bryan Edwards. We ran Darren Waller underneath, and Bryan Edwards came over the top on a dig route, and we hit him in stride twice. Both times we clocked it. We had, 3 or maybe like 6-7 seconds left. We kicked the field goal, and Daniel Carlson, man, was it 55 yards? That's huge to send the game into overtime in the fourth quarter in the clutch moment. Man, I'm going to go through some of these comments, and then I want to give you guys a recap and some of the things I noticed, certain players that I want to kind of talk about. Jimz05 left $5 super chat. He said, "Can we admit preseason reps matter? Defense pass rush looks improved. Carr started feeling as the game went on." And that's the thing, man. Derek Carr started off slow, and he picked up 435 yards over this game. He had 28 yards on his first 11 throws, and he finished with 435. So Derek Carr stepped up, and the pass rush, we're going to get into it, man. I appreciate the super chat. I really do. We're going to fully get into the pass rush, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions because I think it's something we have to talk about, man. This pass rush is no joke, man. I was about to break my TV. Cade Marquez said, and you're not alone, man. You guys should have seen me. At one point, I was so angry, and then after the Raiders came up with the stop, and then Derek Carr drove us downfield, and Bryan Edwards came up with some clutch catches, and we kicked the field goal. Yeah, man. What a crazy game, man. Thank you guys for the super chat. Johnny Perez left the $2 super chat, said DC, Mr. Clutch. Huge shout out to all of you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate it. There's so many great comments that I'm seeing. And I want to definitely get into some of these, but I want to talk about some pivotal moments of this game. Some certain times of this game that I think were the difference in the game. And we'll go back, right? We'll take it back. I don't want to get towards the end of the game. First and foremost, this defense, man, you look at how the offense was rolling. The defense stepped up. And think about this. It was 14-0 at one point in this game. 14-0. And from that point forward, the Raiders outscored the Ravens 13-33 points. And a lot of that was because of the defense. Look at how much forcing 2 turnovers, having a defense that's able to actually make stops. Look at the difference that it could do. And that's exactly what the Raiders defense did. We forced some turnovers and we had pressure. Mad Max Crosby had a total of 6 tackles. He had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, and I believe he had 6 quarterback hits. 6 quarterback hits from Max Crosby. That's insane, man. When was the last time we had a guy like Max Crosby? You can make the Khalil Mack comparison at this point. And if you guys say that's a reach, remember, this is the 3rd year for Max Crosby. He already has 2 sacks. He's on pace for 34 sacks this season, right? Which he's obviously not going to get. But 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. That's no joke, man. That's how you step up from a defensive player. But it wasn't just Max Crosby. Denzel Perryman had huge plays. Quentin Jefferson had a forced fumble. Carl Nassib had a sack. Gerald McCoy obviously went down with injury. He had a ton of really solid plays. Yannick Ngakoue, or I should say Yannick Ngakoue. Great game, man. Great game. We'll get into some individual performance. I want to get into the super chats real quick. Nintendo Not left a $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat. You said, "Is it wrong that I feel more agitated than happy? I honestly turned the game off after that interception. A Leatherwood penalty was simply unacceptable." I 100% agree with you, man. The Leatherwood penalty was unacceptable, but here's the thing, right? That's a learning lesson, right? Alex Leatherwood is going to take that play and we're going to teach him. John Gruden's going to coach him, and Derek Carr is going to tell him, and Darren Waller is going to tell him that, hey, that shit's unacceptable. This is his first ever career NFL game. I know he allowed 1 sack for sure. I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch the film, and we'll see what else Alex Leatherwood did in terms of tape. We'll talk about Andre James in just a second. But Alex Leatherwood, that penalty was absolutely unacceptable. But so was the interception. So was the you can say it was a drop pass. It was also a overthrow by Derek Carr. So it kind of goes between all three of those players right there. Even towards the end of the game, what the hell was John Gruden doing? Bringing out his team to kick the field goal in overtime, which would have been like a 43, 44-yard field goal at that point when it was second down. Like, it would have made sense to just run 2 more plays, get 4, 5, 6 more yards, and then kick the field goal. I don't know what John Gruden was thinking there, but thankfully it didn't work out as intended. Again, thank you for the super chat. Kevin Lurker said night and day from last year's D. It's just insane, man, what a good defense could do. And again, keep in mind, this Baltimore Ravens team, that's a top-tier team. That's a Super Bowl or bust team. That's what the Ravens are doing. They don't care about the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens have been in the playoffs every year for the last 3 years, right? So they don't care about playoffs. They're over it. The Ravens only care about getting to the Super Bowl. And the Raiders not only ran with this team stride for stride, but outside of those 14 points, right, the first 2 touchdowns the Ravens scored, I would say from that point forward, the Raiders whooped the Ravens' ass, right? On the defensive side of the ball, we were all over them. They weren't able to do anything. Truth be told, this defense for the Raiders is night and day better, as Kevin Lurker says. And I'm excited, man. I can't wait until the film comes out. Hopefully we can get it in the next day or two. I don't know if we will get it, to be honest, guys. But let's talk a little bit about the offensive line. I want to give you guys my thoughts and opinions. I would say pretty much every single player had their issues and their flaws. I would say that, unfortunately, we lost Denzel Good. I think he came in for a little bit, but then ultimately I believe he came back out. And someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But I believe Denzel Good went down. He came in a little bit, and then he was out again. But even then, like, Andre James had, I think, 2 holding calls. He had a 4th and 1 play in which he got blown up by Calais Campbell. But this is what we expected. There's going to be growing pains with Andre James, with Alex Leatherwood, with John Simpson, who filled in for Richie Incognito. John Simpson, I saw him lose a couple of times. Even Colton Miller. Colton Miller lost a couple of times as well. And you got to give a huge shout out to John Gruden for designing a great game plan that helped the offensive line out. I believe Derek Carr was sacked 3 times. He was pressured probably 4 or 5 more times. But that's normal, right? That's everyday life of a NFL quarterback. Defenses are paying players to get after the quarterback. And, it wasn't just the Baltimore Ravens D-line that was getting after Carr. The Raiders defensive line did the same thing after Lamar Jackson. But yeah, overall, the offensive line did not play that well. Colton Miller, I would say, probably had the best game among all of the guys. If I had to say who had the worst game, it had to have been between Andre James and Alex Leatherwood. I would say both guys kind of did bad. I saw Leatherwood lose a couple of times on running plays specifically. But there was one really nice play that Andre James made, and that was Josh Jacobs' 2nd touchdown run. He basically pushed the defensive tackle out, who was lined up over the right guard. He pushed him outwards, and then he went up to the second line, to the second level, which was linebacker Patrick Queen, and he hooked him. I'll put that play up on probably Twitter and Instagram a little bit later on tonight. It was a great play, to be honest. That play right there was a great play. And we'll get into the film studies. We'll break down all of the different players. But yeah, man, Andre James did not have a great game, and I think between left tackle to right tackle, they all had their struggles. But it doesn't matter about individual performances. It comes down to the cohesive unit, and they got it done, man. At the end of the day, they got it done. But if you can give one game ball to someone on the offense side of the ball, outside of Derek Carr, because let's face it, Derek Carr won the Raiders this game. At first, it didn't look good for Derek, man, to start the game, but Derek Carr won us this game, and he deserves a game ball. But there's one other player that deserves a game ball, and that's Bryan Edwards. single-handedly, Bryan Edwards helped win this game. And it wasn't just on the the fourth quarter plays, the 2 catches, which were clutch catches, right? If he dropped either of those passes, we're in trouble. And he caught both of them. Um, so again, Bryan Edwards caught those passes, and then you look at someone like, or you look at Bryan Edwards, even in overtime, like he made 2 very solid plays. When we got to the 1 yard line, I know we ultimately didn't score. We threw an interception on that play, but he bailed Derek Carr out. Derek Carr was pressured, and he just lobbed it up towards Bryan Edwards. And Bryan Edwards, he adjusted himself while the ball was in the air. He came back to it, and he caught it. And then that too, but to have the awareness and the mindset to get into the end zone, that is a special mindset that Bryan Edwards brings. And, let's be honest, Henry Ruggs kind of disappointed. Like, he did have that one deep pass, which ultimately set up one of the touchdowns. But he did disappoint, man. He had, I think he had 2 catches for 46 yards. We need more from him. I'm okay with what he gave us, but we need more. And I think we'll get more from Henry Ruggs as the season goes. And just sticking with the offense side of the ball, we got to get our run game better. The run game struggled. Some of you guys are mentioning in the comments. I'm trying to read the comments as I'm kind of giving guys my thoughts and opinions. But yeah, our run game has to step up, man. We had 21 carries for 82 yards, but 31 of those 82 yards came on one rush, which means we had 51 yards on 20 carries. That's not acceptable, man. That's like two yards, a little over 2 yards per carry. That's not acceptable at all, man. It's just not acceptable. So our run game has to get better. Derek Carr stepped up, but you can also put some of that run game issues and flaws on the fact that the Ravens defensive line was really stout. Let's give credit where credit's due, man. Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams had some really solid plays. Justin Ellis, man, Big Jelly, we saw him in there too, man. That's a former Raider right there. One of my favorite players in the past, right, when he was with the Raiders. That defensive line came, and that rookie, James Away, guy's a stud, man. He's going to be a very good football player. Let's switch back over and let's talk a little bit about the defense, man. And we'll talk about Jonathan Abram, man. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below right now. What do you guys think about Jonathan Abram? Is he, as I had mentioned to you guys in the past, how I've been pumping him up this whole entire offseason, is he as advertised? I would say absolutely, man. There was a play in which there were 2 plays actually where he forced fumbles. If you guys don't remember, there was another play along the sideline where he punched the ball out. I believe it was Williams that caught the ball on the sideline, and he punched the ball out, and the ball fell out of bounds. And they didn't think twice about it. No one even mentioned it at that point. But I believe that was a forced fumble as well. Ultimately, it went out of bounds, so I don't know if that counts as a forced fumble. And then even then, on that second drive, right? Well, on the second down play in the overtime drive, which the Ravens had the ball, Mark Andrews caught the ball, and who was it that punched it out? It was Jonathan Abram. He literally punched the ball out, and that wasn't the only play he made, right? Like, he made a ton of other plays, but that play more than any other play was the key play. Had Mark Andrews caught that ball, they're at the 40 to 50 yard line, right? About 45 yard line. And it's a first down, 45 yard line. Instead, they're looking at a third down now. And on that third down, what happens? The Raiders get the sack. They force, they contained it. They sacked him. They blitzed him. Carnassib strips the ball. Abrams looks good, man. Abram looks good. The defense looks good. But KJ freaking Wright, man. You know what's crazy is, I was talking to my brother about this play recently, or about the Raiders recently, and I've kind of mentioned this on my videos as well. The Raiders need, they don't need a guy to make 7 plays in a game. They need 7 players to make 1 play every game, right? So what happened? The Raiders got that out of their guys, right? Jonathan Abram punches the ball out of Mark Andrews. He makes the biggest play for him of the game. On the next play, Carl Nassib punches the ball out. He makes 1 play in this game. KJ Wright shoots the gap on 4th and 1, and he saves us not only 3 points, but the ball's turned. It's a turnover on downs at this point, right? Because he comes around, shoots the gap, and makes a tackle. no guy needs to make 7 plays, but 7 players need to make 1 play. And that's kind of what happened over the course of this game. The Raiders were able to get it done. Huge shout out to the defense, man. Gus Bradley got, he did a great job with his defense. I know we gave up a ton of points, but at the end of the day, or we gave up a ton of yards, but at the end of the day, we didn't give up a ton of points. And I think that's what ends up winning football games, right? We got another super chat. If you guys want to ask any questions, ask a super chat. I'll get to it. There's a ton of comments that we're getting. 805 Hunter left a $5 super chat. Huge shout out to you, man. I really appreciate it. You said the only team that can beat the Raiders is the Raiders. No more self-inflicted wounds. That's such a great comment because the truth is the Raiders just beat one of the best teams in the NFL. And that too, I would argue that if our offense played better in the first half or in the first quarter specifically, I think we would have been much closer and then potentially we could have even just blown this team out. Like our defense stepped up, right? Like our defense got multiple stops, and it wasn't like the Ravens offense was shooting themselves in the foot. The Raiders defense was taking it. As opposed to on the other side of the ball, the Raiders offense was shooting themselves in the foot. There was a play in which Darren Waller drops a pass. There's another play in which Brian Edwards pass interferences, which wasn't a pass interference, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot with these different issues throughout the game. The Raiders have a solid team, man, and I'm very fired up about it. On the defensive side of the ball, one of the players that I wanted to see more from were the 2 rookies. But this is great experience for both guys. Both Nate Hobbs and Trayvon Merrick, great experience for both of these guys. Again, we need the all-22 film to really give you guys a full assessment of those guys. So I'll kind of wait to give you guys my thoughts and opinions. Another player that really stepped up for this team was Nick Kwiatkowski. And I know people are going to hate on him for that one deep catch that was given over the middle of the field. But the reason why that was completed was because of the fact that we were running a cover 3 and we just got caught. And we don't run a cover 3 every play, right? So don't think we run that every play. But on that play specifically, we just ended up getting caught. And that happens, right? You run a guy across, a dragging route across the middle of the field, get him to run that drag post. And that's what happens. You get a guy like Kwiatkowski lined up over someone like that. But either way, he had a good game, right? Kwiatkowski still ended up with like 7 tackles for the Raiders. He had 1 or 2 plays in which he made like tackles for losses. I think 1 tackle for a loss specifically. Another play was just a tackle, which stopped them from converting into a first down. I think it was a 3rd down at that point. But the Raiders got it done, man. And again, we didn't hear much from Trayvon Mullen, from Casey Hayward. Like we didn't hear much from these guys. Which, if you're a secondary player and your name's not being mentioned a ton, you're doing a good job. And again, I like to mention this again. Trayvon Merrick is related to Lamar Jackson. You guys probably saw that during the game. And Lamar Jackson has lost to Trayvon Mullen's team twice now. Mullen, I think I might have said Merrick. Trayvon Mullen. Lamar Jackson has lost to Mullen's team twice in college, and now it's the 3rd time. He's lost him once again. So it looks like at Thanksgiving dinner, Mullen will get to continue bragging about that a little bit. Again, Larry Mellett left a $5 super chat. Huge shout out to you, and I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. You said you were at the game and lost 10 years in my life. Our defense was amazing tonight. I'm sad for McCoy, though. I agree, man. I honestly feel the same way. I know all of you guys out there feel the same exact way. I literally lost years of my life over this game, man. You get to the 1 yard line and you can't get it in. It's crazy, man. This game was a crazy game, but that's kind of how like the Raiders win a lot of their games. And truth be told, right, these are the types of games where it's going to be close. These are the types of games where you're going to fight and scrap for that extra yard. And that's how you win these type of games. So again, I think at the end of the day, the Raiders got it done on the defensive side of the ball. And let's talk about the injuries. You just mentioned Gerald McCoy. I'm very sad for Gerald McCoy as well. Let's be honest, right? In my opinion, Gerald McCoy was going to be a superstar for this team. I said I think he'll have the most impact. He'll be the best defender for this Raiders team. and I take that back. Right after watching this first game, I don't think it's Gerald McCoy that's going to be the best player. And we don't know his injury. I know he was carted off the field. I don't know if it was his thigh. I don't know if it's even been confirmed, or his quad. I don't know if it's been confirmed on Twitter. If someone has it, let me know in the comments below. But you know what? I hope he's okay. I hope Gerald McCoy gets healthy. Hopefully it's 1 or 2 weeks and he's back. That'd be the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, he's out for the season, and that would be unfortunate because that's probably career ending. Yannick Ngakoue also got hurt, as you guys know. If you guys don't know how he got hurt, I'm sure it'll come out. Someone will put it out there. But he was celebrating. I noticed it because I don't know exactly what he did on the play. I don't remember on the top of my head. I'll have to go back and look at it. I believe he got a hit on the quarterback, but right after he got the hit, like he jumped up and he celebrated. And then like he quickly ran off the field. And then when they showed him on the sideline right after he had made that play, he was kind of talking to the trainer looking down towards his leg. So I'm not 100% sure what happened. We'll get an update on him. I hope he's okay because Yannick Ngakoue was right with Max Crosby. Him and Max were huge for this defensive line. Like, let's be honest, as soon as he got off the field and he stopped playing, as soon as Jerry McCoy came off the field, our defense did not look the same. Like, we did not look as explosive. And Max Crosby was still out there, right? Like, let's be honest, he still had himself a great game. But we didn't look as explosive from the defensive line. But here's the thing, right? If our defensive line gets healthy and they stay healthy, our defensive line, and I said this in the past, I actually said this on the Autumn Windbags podcast. I said our defensive line is a top 5 defensive line unit in the league. Obviously, Jared McCoy might be out. Yannick Ngakoue, we don't know what's going on with him or Yannick. But if those guys are healthy, if those guys are playing, you guys just saw what our line just did to a Ravens offense line. And keep in mind, the Ravens right tackle, Alejandro Villanova, as well as their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, those are some good offensive tackles. Those are veterans in the league. And the Raiders, Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue, they just ate their lunch, man. Those guys could not stop our pass rush. We dominated them. And those are 2 pretty good freaking offensive tackles, man. And those guys couldn't contain the Raiders. It's going to be a whole new day for the Raiders, man. The defense is a whole new unit, and I'm fired up about it. James, thank you for the super chat. You said Wright got burned in coverage, but came through on 4th. And that's just what it is, man. People are going to get beat. Players are going to be players are going to get beat. Wright was in his coverage. Obviously, I think it was Sammy Watkins or maybe it was Hollywood Brown. One of those guys ran across the middle of the field, caught the ball. And again, you're looking at a receiver with 4.3, 4.4 speed trying to go up against a 32-year-old veteran linebacker. It is what it is. He made up for it clearly on the 4th down play in which he blew it up. Overall, great great game by KJ Wright. Edwards will only get better, adding another threat, making the 0 unstoppable. That comes from Gregory Hogan, $5 super chat. Thank you. I really appreciate the super chat. What's crazy is Brian Edwards. Not only did he make those 4th quarter plays, he had the heads up play to almost get the touchdown. But at that point, the Ravens really they realized, all right, it can't just be Darren Waller that we have to bracket or Hunter Renfrow. Now we got to focus on Brian Edwards. You know what's crazy is next week, the Steelers are going to say, hey, let's focus in on Waller and then on Renfrow, and then on this next play, let's bracket Brian Edwards. What about Hunter or what about Henry Ruggs? Ruggs will hit you deep for the next play. And then if it's not him, Zay Jones scored the game-winning touchdown on a great route, right? It's just crazy, man. This offense, I said it, we have one of the best playmaking groups in the entire league. I stick with it, man. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think the Las Vegas Raiders have one of the best playmakers in the entire league? When you compare our playmakers, right, Waller, Foster Moreau, and it's unfortunate because I don't think Foster Moreau had a catch. I don't think he was targeted, to be honest, you guys. But when you look at this group, just compare it to the Ravens group, right? Like Brian Edwards could potentially be one of the Ravens' best wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow could potentially be one of the best wide receivers, right? Renfrow was eating as well, man. 6 catches, 70 yards. I love the ball distribution, man. Alec Ingold had 4 catches as well. You know, he only had 22 yards, but he was targeted 4 times and he caught all 4 catches. Those are the types of things that are huge for a team, right? And I'm seeing a lot of comments of people saying Andre James sucks. And you know, unless you guys have already seen the film, I suggest you guys hold your guys' opinions on Andre James and even on the other players, right? That didn't play as well. Because sometimes what happens is like the broadcast will point a guy out. For example, there was a play that I believe John Simpson was the guy that got beat. But Andre James also kind of got beat, but it wasn't his guy specifically. And the broadcast kind of blamed Andre James. Like they said his name specifically. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's his first NFL competition. He's a center, brand new guy coming in there, going up against Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams. Potentially the best interior defensive line in the whole entire league. Potentially, right? Either way, it is interesting. Some of you guys are also talking about the Cleveland Barrow situation. I'm not 100% sure what happened with Cleveland Barrow. I think it was Ian Rappaport said something to the tune of Cleveland Barrow was a healthy scratch. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing because Cleveland Barrow also had back issues. And I know he practiced, right, in full, as they say. It's not like these guys are hitting full pads. You know, these guys are half pads, shells, right? Probably don't even have a helmet on. And again, who knows how he was feeling? Just because Ian Rappaport says he was a healthy scratch, that doesn't mean that's what John Gruden and Mike Mayock actually felt. What if these guys say we want to protect our players, right? We want to say, let's just let Cleveland Farrell rest this game and we'll have him 100% healthy for next week, right? What if that's what the Raiders wanted to do? Either way, we'll find out. If John Gruden's already had his presser, I haven't seen it yet. So obviously I went live, but I'll check that out and I'll give you guys an update on that. Either way, I think we're fine, man. I think Cleveland Farrell will be fine. Max Crosby, superstar. You can compare him to Khalil Mack, man, with the production. Honestly, I watched the Bears game. I watched it last night, the Bears and Rams game, and I would argue Max Crosby had a better game today than did Khalil Mack against the Rams. And you guys can go if you guys watch both games. Tell me what you guys think. Did Max Crosby outperform Khalil Mack today? I'm not saying he's a better football player, right? Khalil Mack's been doing it for 7-8 years at this point. But Max Crosby, man, 5 to 6 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. He was disruptive. Like, let's just face it, man. Max Crosby was the Raiders' best defensive player tonight. Second, I would argue, is Jonathan Abram. Yannick Ngakoue also had huge impacts while he was on the field, but he kind of came out early. I'm pumped up, man. I'm very pumped up. There's over 600 of you guys on this chat, on this video right now. If you guys can all hit that thumbs up button, I would really, really, really appreciate it. It really does mean a lot. I'm going to go and watch that game right now. I'm going to rewatch the Raiders and Ravens game right now. Hopefully we get the film soon. I will do a full film breakdown on Max Crosby and his dominant game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you guys are not subscribers. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys all have a great night. I hope you guys enjoy this victory. It's the first victory tomorrow. Although we'll enjoy it, we'll be on to the Steelers, man. Hope you guys all have a great night, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.